Yeah, we're gonna double radiance the opener just to be an absolute Chad. Send this guy to the fucking nether realm. Yep. That's the new Disc Priest. That's the new Disc Priest right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk briefly about the new Disc Priest. Okay, this is going to be a quick, kind of like quick start guide because the season hasn't started yet, but a ton of people are asking me what I'm doing, so I'm just going to lay it down. I'm going to show you guys what I've learned so far. I played it for a few hours, and what I'm doing right now and where we're going with it. All right, so just first off, let me just go over the new stuff first, and I'll show you guys what I've been working with. Okay, really quick. Big things just to know in your tree. Sanctuary is a new talent. It's if you can't free cast, don't run it. If you can free cast, it's around 5% healing. It's not that crazy. Maybe once the 4 set comes out, it may be better because you can get double procs of this. But at the moment, don't think it's worth it. Shield Discipline is now your only choice there. Okay. Shadow Covenant is now obviously embedded into Mindbender, so playing for damage, you're going to want Mindbender just to get those massive penances. Do note, if you don't run all the way down to Mindbender, let's say you play without Mindbender here, Shadow Covenant will go, instead of from 20% increase damage and healing, it'll be 35. Just a quick note on that, just so you know that. But I messed around without Mindbender. The Shadow Covenant duration does not make sense. I don't know why, but it doesn't make sense for the difference between Mindbender and Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend, Mindbender, it's only like a 20-second cooldown. If you maximize it, it's only a 20-second cooldown essentially. But if you're playing Shadow Fiend, it's going to be like a minute something. Maybe like, even if you maximize it, it's like a minute and a half to 2 minutes. It's still pretty, actually it's closer to 2 minutes. So yeah. We have Ultimate Penitence is obviously the big builder you guys just saw there. Just so you are aware how it works, it will prefer whatever you're targeting. If you're targeting an enemy, it's going to prefer to deal damage. If you are targeting an ally, it's going to prefer to heal. But do remember, if you do it for damage, it's going to atone heal as well. Okay, so from my experience, if you are using this for healing, you are going to overheal. Unless your whole team's taking like triple rot affliction lock damage or maybe shuffle, like just triple rot. But otherwise, I'd prefer to use it offensively. And also, again, a reminder, it will hit the most random ass targets. You can't really decide who it hits, which is kind of frustrating. But if you can isolate a target like I did in this clip, this is the case where you can get a massive good use out of it. Like in a rogue mage, let's say, and you're behind a pillar, you pop this on one guy, he's obliterated. It will do massive damage and it will isolate a target, just kind of like how Convoke was or is. Yeah, to my knowledge, you can't get kicked in the air. Once you get it in the air, you can get kicked while you're precasting it, unless no one's kicking it. Unaffected by knockbacks or crowd control. I thought you were kickable, but no one's ever kicked me yet. So maybe I'm wrong on that. Don't quote me. I thought you couldn't. I thought you could get kicked, but I don't think you can. Or I haven't been kicked yet, I should say. Okay, and anything else new? Oh, Divine Aegis is only 1 point now, so it's easier to get to Aegis of Wrath, which is great. And Will and Woe is buffed as well. So Will and Woe is now buffing your smite. The smite damage is irrelevant, I'll tell you that. But the shield part of it is really nice. So it's now 10%. I think it's up from 7, if I'm not mistaken, or 5, something like that. And it stacks up to 8 times. But the thing is, because Harsh Discipline is now linked to Radiance, which I was going to say next, you're going to get a lot more frequent big penances and up to 8 casts, which means you're going to be getting these big shields more often. So with that said, this gets way more value because the shields are going to be bigger and more often. The Harsh Discipline, like I just said, it's going to be linked to Radiance. So every time that you do Radiance, it's going to be 2 extra bolts, and if you Radiance again, now you're going to be full stacked with that buff, and you're going to have 4 bolts. So now it's going to be 8 total bolts. So if I was to penance them, they're going to smack down 8, and then you can shield it. You'll get a big shield, 182k. This is without shield build or mastery, so that's a pretty chunky amount of shield. So that's it for everything new. There's a CDR that you can mess with if you'd like to try CDR with Penance. Expiation is a lot worse now because you only have 1 charge of Mind Blast. I really hate that they made 1 charge of Mind Blast, but it's what it is. Not that type of video. But yeah, so let's get into it. So this is oh, and then what was I gonna say? Oh, DPS rotation wise. So if you guys are curious, if you are able to free cast, if you guys are playing the full healing build, your gameplay is going to be exactly the same. There's nothing going to change except that your filler is just going to be smite more so than mind blast. Usually you would fill with mind blast just in case you got kicked, but you're going to fill with smite because you want mind bender, right? So typically in a lot of these games, I'm just double radiance in the opener because who the heck cares? You know what I'm saying? Let me get this thing off here 1 second. Okay, and just for me, if you guys are trying to do damage, I'll typically PI, Mindbender, always Mind Blast first, and then I throw a Purge of the Wicked for Twilight Equilibrium. Big penance in there. A Death immediately, just to keep the most amount of Inescapable Torment procs. And I'm just chilling here, waiting for the next penance. Get a penance again. And then make sure you try to you'll throw in that second death as well. You should be able to fit in 2 penances and 2 deaths on every single Mindbender go. The reason you want to do that is for Inescapable Torment. Inescapable Torment, as you can see here, is a lot of damage. So that's what you want to make sure you're maximizing, because it's going to be cleaving and it's going to be extending the duration of Mindbender as well, which gives you more damage and more mana return. What was I going to say otherwise in that? Oh, so that's one thing I am missing out on is Train of Thought. Because Train of Thought actually is going to feel really good as well once we get the 4 set too. Because it's going to potentially reduce the cooldown of penance by 1 second every time you cast it. So that's a lot. You're going to get a lot more frequent penances. So that is something I'm going to experiment with, just not yet. Like maybe I'll drop Ultimate Penance. Actually, I can't drop Ultimate Penance. Maybe I'll drop like at this point or something like that. TBD. But that's basically how it goes. If you are playing the shield build, nothing's going to change. You're going to be just dotting things, penancing things, purging, healing, shield. That's it. You know, that's about it. Nothing's changed. Your gameplay is exactly the same. You're just feeling with smite. That's it. Okay. So this is my DPS build. I'm gonna mess around with this in solo shuffle as well. I haven't really tested much in 3s yet. We'll have to kind of see. And then for solo shuffle, you can experiment, but I think this is gonna end up being the cookie cutter spec. Because basically, surprise, it's the same thing as last season. There's nothing different. You're just running Ultimate Penance now. From instead of having Lace Wrath before, you basically just run the same stuff. Is what it is. But there is room for experimentation. I know some people were trying out like like maybe dropping this stuff here and going like down here or something, and like having my meta, not this exact route. Maybe they went up here. Oh, they probably do like this. Go down like that. Up to you. Experiment. Let me know what builds have been working for you guys. But I just want to show you guys these, get something out there for y'all, what I'm working with. And hope you guys are enjoying the new patch. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have found any secrets that you want to share with the class. And hope you guys see you guys in the next one. Peace out.